You know that feeling when you check your bank account, and instead of a mini heart attack, you actually smile? Most people never get there. They spend their entire lives calculating if they can afford the extra guacamole or if buying new tires means eating instant noodles for a month. Financial gurus lie to you. They tell you the goal is $1 million. They tell you that life changes when you hit six figures, but they are missing the point entirely. The gap between being broke and having $1,000 is stressful, but the gap between $1,000 and $20,000, that is the most dangerous, difficult, and critical journey you will ever take. My name is Claus, and today I am going to show you why $20,000 is the specific mathematical tipping point where gravity stops working against you and starts working for you. We are going to break down the poverty tax, the psychology of walking away power, and the exact math of how your first $20,000 eventually prints your next million automatically. If you are tired of playing the game on hard mode, smash that subscribe button. Let's decode the matrix of wealth. Before we talk about getting rich, we have to talk about why it feels impossible to start. It's called the poverty tax. When you have zero savings, the world charges you a premium just for existing. Let me give you a real example. Two people, Alex and Sam, both get a flat tire. Alex has $0 in the bank. He can't pay the $200 for a new tire, so he puts it on a credit card with 25% interest. He can only make the minimum payment. By the time he pays it off a year later, that $200 tire cost him $350. Because Alex is broke, he buys cheap work boots for $30. They wear out in 3 months, so he buys another pair. Over a year, he spends $120 on boots that hurt his feet. Now look at Sam. Sam has $20,000 in the bank. He pays $200 cash for the tire. Done. No interest. He buys the $100 high-quality boots that last for 3 years. Do you see what's happening? Sam is paying less to live the same life. This is survival mode. When you are in it, your brain literally cannot process long-term growth. It is obsessed with immediate threats. Research from Vanguard confirms this. Having just $2,000 in cash reserves boosts your perceived financial well-being by 21%. Why? Because the panic stops. When you aren't panicking, you make better decisions. You don't take the payday loan. You don't buy the lottery ticket. You start to plan. But $2,000 is just a buffer. $20,000 is a fortress. Now, let's look at the math that justifies the struggle. Imagine you commit to saving $1,000 a month. You invest it in a standard index fund, earning an average of 8% per year. Getting from zero to your first $20,000 is a grind. It takes 19 months, that is almost 2 years of saying no to parties, driving the old car, and feeling like nothing is happening. But here is where the magic starts. To get your second $20,000, it doesn't take 19 months, it takes 17 months. Why? Because your first $20,000 is now an employee while you are sleeping, working, or eating. Those $20,000 are out there working for you, generating roughly $1,600 a year in returns. Let's fast forward. By the time you have $100,000 invested, adding another $20,000 takes only 13 months. And if you stick with it until you have $400,000, you can generate a fresh $20,000 in just 5 months. Think about that. The same amount of money that took you nearly 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears to save initially is now appearing in your account automatically twice a year. The first 20,000 is pushing the boulder uphill. Everything after is the boulder rolling down. Most people quit at month 12. They are so close to the peak, but they give up because they don't understand that the acceleration is about to kick in. But the benefits aren't just in the distant future. Having $20,000 changes your life tomorrow morning. It gives you what I call walking away power. If you are living paycheck to paycheck, you are essentially a hostage. Your boss knows you have rent due. They know you have car payments. This puts you in a weak negotiating position. You can't ask for a raise because you fear rejection. You tolerate toxic behavior because you fear unemployment. You don't take risks on new job offers because you can't afford a gap in pay. You are stuck. But when you have 20,000 liquid, the dynamic flips. You walk into the office knowing you could quit today and be fine for 6 months. You don't need to be arrogant. You don't need to be rude, but you have a quiet confidence. You can simply say, "Boss, I need a 15% raise to match the market rate." You say it calmly because you aren't desperate. And here is the irony of the corporate world. Desperation repels money. Confidence attracts it. Often the person with the savings gets the promotion simply because they are willing to take on harder projects and speak their mind. Your 20,000 isn't just money. It's a career accelerator. Okay, Claus, the math is cool, but I'm broke. How do I actually save 20,000 without living in a cardboard box? You need to stop focusing on latte math and start focusing on the big three. Stop worrying about the $5 coffee. It doesn't matter. To hit 20,000 fast, you need to attack housing, transportation, and food. Number 1, housing. Can you get a roommate? Can you move 10 minutes further out? Saving $300 on rent is worth 60 coffees. That is $3,600 a year straight into your freedom fund. Number 2, transportation. If you have a car payment over $500, you are bleeding out. Sell it. Downgrade. Number 3, the gap strategy. Most people get a raise and immediately spend it. The secret to hitting 20,000 is to freeze your lifestyle. If you make 3,000 and spend 3,000, you are running in place. If you get a raise to 3,500, do not upgrade your apartment. Take that $500 gap and automate it into savings. You won't miss money you never saw. Now, a warning. This is where 90% of people destroy their progress. You hustle for 19 months. You eat generic brand cereal. You finally see $20,000 in your account. You feel rich. You think, I deserve a reward. So you go to the dealership and you buy a new car. Do not do this. A car is not an asset. It is a wealth incinerator. The moment you drive it off the lot, you lose 20%. But the real cost isn't the 20,000. It is the opportunity cost. That new car didn't just cost you $20K. It cost you $200,000 of your future retirement. Is the new car smell worth $200,000? I don't think so. The person driving the 2015 Honda isn't broke. They are smart. They are buying freedom while everyone else buys liabilities. So if you don't buy the car, where should you put the money? Most people save $20,000 and leave it in a checking account, earning 0.01%. That is not saving. That is losing money to inflation. To make the math work, you need the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. You don't need to be a stock market genius. You don't need to pick the next Apple or Tesla. In fact, trying to pick winners is how most people lose everything. Instead, you use what wealthy people use, low-cost index funds. Think of the S&P 500. It is a basket of the 500 largest companies in America. Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they are all in there. When you buy one share of an index fund, you own a tiny piece of the entire American economy. If one company fails, you don't care because you own 499 others. Historically, this market has returned about 10% per year on average over the last century. If you just leave your $20,000 under your mattress, in 20 years, it is still $20,000. Actually, it's worth far less because of inflation. But if you put that $20,000 into the S&P 500, in 20 years without adding another penny, it could grow to over $130,000. That is the difference between working for money and making money work for you. And this creates the final mindset shift. Once you understand this math, you stop seeing purchases as just spending money. You start seeing them as destroying your freedom. You realize that saving isn't about restriction. It's about buying options. It's about buying the ability to say no to a bad boss or yes to a dream business. Saving your first $20,000 proves something more valuable than the money itself. It proves you have discipline. It proves you can control your impulses. It changes your identity from a consumer to an owner. Once you build that identity, the $1 million becomes inevitable. It's just a matter of time. So here is my challenge to you. Don't look at the mountain. Just look at the first step. Start your fund today, even if it's $10. If you are ready to become an owner, comment "I'm an owner" down below. I'll see you on the other side of the curve. Thanks for watching.